play a game?
Love to. How about global thermonuclear war?
Wouldn't you prefer a good game of chess?
Later, let's play global thermonuclear war.
Fine.
All right.
In war games, all it took was one bad prompt to nearly end the world. These days, AI won't trigger a nuclear launch, at least not yet anyway, but it will confidently give you the wrong answer. So, are you asking it the right questions? A person can be a maker in anything, 3D printing, art, a grocery list, whatever. But these days, if you're not using AI, you're putting yourself at a serious disadvantage. This video is all about why you need to have an AI workflow, and how to build one that actually works for you, not the other way around. Over the past year, I've used AI tools to help me design parts, generate models, write scripts, even brainstorm products. Now, I've customized them to fit the way I work, and I use them almost every day. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how I use my AI workflows, starting with purpose-built tools that generate images and printable 3D meshes, and then move on to how I customize ChatGPT to help me with things from scripting and product development. Whether you're into 3D printing, design, or just looking for smarter ways to get things done, this video will give you ideas that you can start using today. And if you stick around to the end, I'll share a free PDF that I've breaking down all the tools and prompts I talk about in this workflow, so you can start building your own workflows right away. Let's start with the type of AI that gets the most attention, image generation. AI started going mainstream when tools like Midjourney showed up. DALL-E came first, but Midjourney made it feel more like an art tool, and suddenly everybody was sharing wild cinematic creations on Discord and Instagram. Since then, a bunch of other models have come out. Some are open source, some are pay to play, but most can generate really impressive results. But what really changed the game for me is when ChatGPT became multimodal. Now I can describe an idea in plain English, no fancy prompt tricks, and the chat will generate an image, and I can tweak it just by talking to it. I also use AI to generate images like concept art. At the start of a project or when I'm planning a thumbnail, I describe my ideas to ChatGPT or Midjourney to get a visual help of what I'm trying to figure out and what direction I want to go to. And depending on what I'm using the image for, I'll usually finish it off in Photoshop. It's a lot faster to get that final 10% by hand than keep wrestling with the prompt to get exact final images. And sometimes it'll be multiple images that get cut up to make one final product. Instead of endlessly scrolling through Pinterest hoping to find the exact right image, you can just grab a few of them that are close to what you're looking for, give them to the AI as reference, and then describe what you want. Most of the time you'll be surprised how close it gets. And if not, you just keep refining it until you get something that clicks. You can use this to create product mock-ups, concept art, mood boards. If you're not great at drawing, this is a great shortcut to get your ideas into a visual form. The images might not be perfect, but they'll be good enough to give you an idea of what you're looking at. Once you have an image you like, if your goal is to 3D print it, you can then take that and pass it on to an AI model that specializes in generating 3D meshes. These mesh AIs are trained to understand how objects look in 3D space, so just from a single image, you can generate a printable model. And what it can't see from the single image, it does a really good job at guessing to fill in the blanks. That used to be a weak spot where if you had a very unique object, it was hard for it to guess the parts it couldn't see. But now a lot of the models allow you to upload multiple images, so you can give it a front, side, and back, and that way the AI has a complete image and generate a very high detailed mesh. There's even some models now that will break the mesh into separate parts, so the head, the body, the arms, the legs. Now this way you could take them and you could print them as separate pieces, which makes it a lot easy for painting and then assemble it after the fact. What I found best in this workflow is to generate your images in something like Midjourney or ChatGPT until you get something you like, and then taking that into the Mesh AI. They also will let you do this where you can just give it a prompt and it'll generate the image and then the mesh also. But I found they're not quite as good, so I try to work to the strengths of whichever AI I'm using. So far these AIs all cover making things, either images or models or even full 3D prints. But there's another whole side to AI that's just as powerful. And that's when you stop treating it just as a tool and start training it to work as a teammate that you can collaborate with. That's where customization comes in. But before we get into how to actually train AI to work for you, I have a quick word from this video sponsor, Brilliant. I've been working through their scientific thinking course, and if you're a maker, this one's right up your alley. It walks you through real-world mechanics and logic problems in a super visual, hands-on way. More like interactive puzzles than lectures. It's fun, but it also trains you to approach designs and troubleshooting more methodically. The challenges are based on real-world scenarios. Things like gearing systems, structural stability, load distribution, stuff that actually shows up in the kind of projects makers work on all the time. And since I've been trying to learn as much as I can about AI, I've started their How AI Works course. It goes deeper into the core concepts behind how large language models work and actually function. And once you understand that, it gives you a more clear picture of what's happening and how to use them more effectively. If that sounds interesting, you can try everything Brilliant has to offer for free at brilliant.org/DaveRigDesign. And if you decide to upgrade, you'll get 20% off your annual subscription. I'd like to thank Brilliant for supporting the channel, and now let's get into how to actually teach AI to work the way you want it to. A lot of people try ChatGPT or other programs like it, get a generic answer, and think it's overhyped. It's like hiring a brand new assistant. They may be capable and fast and well-read, but if you don't give them any context, they're just guessing at what you want. But if the same assistant has worked with you for a while, if they know your tone, your style, how you like things done, you can ask for something in one sentence and you'll get exactly what you're looking for. ChatGPT works the same way. The more you guide it, the more useful it becomes. One of the easiest way to improve the results is by setting up ChatGPT's custom instructions. You'll find it under the Customize ChatGPT section, where you can tell it how you want it to respond, what it should know about you, and how it should behave. This helps chat move from random advice generator to something that actually knows your preferences. The difference can be huge. Let's quickly go over what each field does. What should ChatGPT call you? Just enter a name or nickname. This sets a casual tone and keeps the replies feeling personal. What do you do? This is where you give chat some context of what your background is, your job, your projects, your hobbies. It helps chat skip the basic explanations and get right to the good stuff faster. What traits should ChatGPT have? This controls the tone and personality. It can tell to be clear, thoughtful, conversational, no corporate fluff or overselling. You can make it sound however you want. Anything else chat should know about you? This is a wildcard field. You can include specific preferences, project names, instructions how you like answers formatted. For mine, I include how I use custom GPTs for different workflows and how I want the assistant to act in each one. One more setting that's worth mentioning is memory. It's on by default, but this works differently than most people expect. It won't remember temporary details unless you bring them up often. So if you say something like I'm working on a video about AI and you make this reference multiple times, it'll start remembering that and then its answers will start having context around that. You can also tell chat to remember something specifically and it'll update its memory. You'll always be notified when the memory gets updated. It shows a little prompt on the screen, and you can always go into the settings and manage what's saved, and you can remove things you don't want. Together, these help chat feel more like an actual assistant that understands what you're doing instead of just a generic chatbot. Now, if you want to go beyond basic customization, there are two more tools you should know about: projects and custom GPTs. They're similar in what they do, but they're designed to have a slightly different use case. Projects are private, personal workspaces, kind of like folders. You can group together multiple chats, upload files, and give chat specific instructions on how to act inside that project. It's like setting up a custom assistant, but specifically for whatever you're doing inside that project. I have projects set up for video production, creative planning, and even one just set up to handle business emails. You can upload files like PDFs, spreadsheets, or documents, and the AI will use this as reference every time you start a new chat. It's like giving your assistant a binder full of material that it won't forget and that it knows how to work with. Custom GPTs are a little more public-facing. You can design them the same way as projects by uploading specific material and giving them specific instructions, but you can also share these with others. ChatGPT has a whole almost app store that is just GPTs that people have shared. The biggest difference is how they use the internet. Both projects and custom GPTs can browse the web if you enable it, but in a project, every search is done with full access to the stored files and past chats in the project, so it can connect new information with everything you've already worked on. A custom GPT is a new chat every time, and any web search is limited to that individual conversation. Each chat in a project is like adding another chapter to the same book, whereas a custom GPT is like a short story unto itself. Let's say you're part of a community group or a club, and you have a big PDF file that is full of policies and meeting notes and how-to guides. Instead of making everybody dig through this file every time they have a question or they have to look something up, you could upload this into a custom GPT. Then in the instructions, you could write something like, "You're a helpful assistant for our community group. Use the uploaded files to answer any questions about the rules, procedures, or members' responsibilities. Always answer clearly and reference the section you're pulling the information from." And that's it. Now anybody you share this GPT with can ask it questions in natural language like you're talking to a person, like "What's our refund policy?" and you'll get an answer back instantly, and you know it's accurate because it's coming right from the document. Here's another example that might be a little more relevant to the 3D printing community. Let's say you're trying to learn Blender. It's a great software, but has a steep learning curve, and the documentation can be a pain to search through. So instead of having 12 tabs open in your browser and trying to remember which YouTube tutorial you saw the thing you're trying to work on, you could download Blender's official manual, upload it to a project, and then create an instruction, something like, "You're a Blender assistant. Use the uploaded Blender manual to answer user questions clearly and simply. Provide step-by-step guidance when possible, and include links to relevant sections if they exist." Now, anytime you get stuck, you can just ask the AI. For example, "How do I UV unwrap a model?" Or "Where's the shortcut to switch to orthographic view?" And chat will pull the answer directly from the manual without you having to go search for it. This is also a good example of when to use a project or a custom GPT. A custom GPT can be shared with others in your group, and you can turn off web access so it can only pull information from the document you've given it. The Blender project, on the other hand, can access the web to find new information that wasn't covered in the manual, and it can reference questions you've already asked in the past because all your chats and files stay linked inside the project. So we've covered a lot, from AI to generate images and printable models, custom instructions, memory, projects, and even private GPTs. But the real takeaway here isn't how I use it, but it's how you can. Whether you're trying to save time, design smarter, or just get through your to-do list faster, building your own AI workflows is an upgrade for your creative toolbox. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Do you agree with this breakdown? Do you have questions on any of the parts of the workflow? Or are there any problems you're stuck on that you think AI can help you with? Drop a comment below and let me know what you're thinking. I read all of them, and I'd love to keep the conversation going. Also, don't forget I put together a free PDF guide that covers everything I've talked about in the video, including the tools I use, setups, prompt examples, everything to get started. I'll put the link down in the description. It's a great way to start building your own AI workflow. I also have a private Discord server for my Patreon members. It's one of the ways I'm trying to say thanks for people that are supporting what I'm doing here. And it's where I'd like to build a space for a deeper conversation around AI, 3D printing, creative workflows, and just making in general. So if that sounds like something you'd want to be a part of, I'd love to have you there. You can find the link down in the description. And if you want to learn more about generating printable meshes with AI, you can check out these videos here. Thanks for watching.